Hey everybody, listen. It's time for part 2 of Sacred Sexuality. Did you know that God created sex for you to enjoy? That there's not supposed to be any shame in making love to your spouse? Who told you were naked? Who told you it was wrong? We're going to talk tonight about how sexuality is sacred. And watch this, how to achieve multiple orgasms. Y'all better come get some of this.
Just takes a little effort, we can work it out. These things go hand in hand, know what I'm talking about. Can we have one without the other, one without the other, yeah. One without the other, one without the other, yeah. We made it through the test, strengthening love and sex. We made it through the test, strengthening love and sex.
All right, we're back for part 2 of Sacred Sexuality. There is this misconception that there is a separation between our physical selves and our spiritual selves as it relates to sexuality, especially in church, right?
Oh, definitely in church.
And I think it goes back to this philosophical idea of asceticism. And asceticism, babe, is when the Gnostics believed that the body was separate from the spirit. The Gnostics believed that Jesus actually did not suffer on the cross because he was spiritual and not physical. But that would have defeated the purpose of Jesus knowing what we felt as human beings. He was fully human and fully God.
Right.
Oh my God, I'm gonna say that again. Jesus was fully human, fully God. He was tempted just like we were, but he did not sin. But my point is this: we are fully human and we have the divine within us. And in order for us to really fully appreciate how God has wired us, we must tap into the spiritual side of our sexuality.
Okay.
And I think that's where we need to get back to tonight. And so we left off last week with talking about how to be multi-orgasmic. First of all, orgasm is not the goal.
Right.
It's just part of the journey. And I think the sacredness of sexuality is to enjoy the journey towards it. And for men, like I said last week, we need to learn how to delay our ejaculation. Because once that energy is expended, we become sleepy, we want a turkey sandwich, and you might not get none until the next day. And so we have to practice using that muscle that we use to cut off our urine when we're peeing. Is similar to when women do Kegel exercises, when they stop their pee, like somebody's walking up on you like, oh. Have you ever wanted to take your love life and marriage to another level?
Ladies, do you want to bring romance back to your relationship and get that old thing back?
We got you. It's time for our second annual Naked and Unashamed Marriage Conference called Love in the Bluff on June 7th through the 9th at the beautiful Hyatt Centric Hotel overlooking the Mystic Mississippi River. We will be leading one of the most exciting and engaging marriage retreats you've ever experienced.
At Love in the Bluff, we will be teaching you and your spouse how to be building intimacy. We want to show you how to restore that erotic connection between you and your spouse.
L is for liberating fantasies. How do you ask your spouse for the love you've been dreaming about?
And the U is for unveiling communication. We want to teach you how to turn towards each other and not away from each other.
The F is for fueling desire. We want to teach you some tantalizing techniques to put fire back into your lovemaking.
And the other F is for fun and playfulness. We are going to have some interactive playtime to teach you how to enjoy each other and rediscover how to pleasure your spouse. All of this will take place in the Bluff City at Hyatt Centric Hotel, where we have a block of 20 rooms.
There will be a rooftop party that Friday night, and we will be dancing the night away. And then when it's all over that night, we're going to send you back to your rooms for some playtime with the goodie bags that we're going to give you after registration.
Now, on that Saturday morning after breakfast, we will have our time of work and play as we go over new material to take your love making to higher heights.
On Saturday night, we will be attending one of the most amazing showcases of R&B talent in the Mid-South area. We've partnered with 901 Live, hosted by Dr. Derek and Darkest Pain. It's going to be amazing. Y'all know Rhythm and Blues started in Memphis.
Then on Sunday after checkout, we will have brunch at Sugar Grits. It's a time to take your love on top and meet us for Love in the Bluff. This retreat will sell out, and you can go secure your spot today by going to drstacylspencer.com and register for Love in the Bluff.
We hope to see you and your spouse in Memphis for our 3-day naked and unashamed marriage retreat. We will see you on top. You got to practice that little move, fellas, when you're using the bathroom. Stop it, release, stop it, release, so that, watch this, when you're making love to your wife and you're inside your wife and it's feeling good, it's warm, and you're like, oh, this is the best feeling in the world, and you feel yourself breathing, your breath speeds up, it gets more rapid, your heart starts beating faster, you know what comes next. And if you don't stop right there, you're going to go all the way over the edge, and your wife is going to be laying there like, can you hand me my vibrator? Because you have gone into the place of no return. But if you practice the discipline of cutting that off and just doing your breath work, breathe deeply, it activates that parasympathetic nervous system, because the sympathetic nervous system is when there's an increase in your heart rate, breathing is shallow, and you're getting ready to climax.
Right.
But if you do some deep breathing and contract that muscle, for some men, you might even need to pull out before you release, because it's hard to return from that place.
But when you're breathing, if you do that deep breathing together as well, if you keep your breath in pace with your partner, then it also helps to slow down the orgasm. So when you intentionally are taking those deep breaths together, inhaling and then exhaling, not fast but slow, then that helps.
I'm so jealous of you, because women, y'all keep going. Like, you've had multiple orgasms before, and I'm just sitting there like, it's not fair. I have my one and it's done. So what does it feel like to be able to be multi-orgasmic? Is it wave after wave? Is it a build-up?
That's exactly what it is. It's a wave after wave after wave, and then there's sometimes you're like you're on this roller coaster. Like you go up, and then you come down. You go up, you come down, and you're like, okay, when is it gonna stop? But it will eventually, depending on how you are wired, you will settle.
How long is it? Like, I know when you first reach orgasm, you're like, don't touch me. How long does that period last?
Well, it just varies. You know, it depends on my mindset, how much stress I'm carrying that day. If I'm totally relaxed, it depends on how my love language was poured into
So
that
you're talking
day.
about the first orgasm. I'm talking about after the first orgasm.
Oh, after the.
So you're talking about, what my wife is talking about is, in order to have sacred sexuality, the context must be right.
Correct.
You have to have the right context, because if you don't have the right context, you ain't gonna have great sex. And what I mean by context is, what was my day like? Did you experience a lot of stress?
Right.
Did I help you as a husband, or did I make you mad before you got home? Because if I made you mad, chances are I ain't gonna get none at all. So I want to make sure that as a husband, I take as many checks off her box so that her mind is not racing when it's time to enter into our sanctuary, which is our bedroom. But my question to her was, after you reach that first orgasm and you're like, oh, don't touch me, it feels good. You're ultra sensitive. How long is your refractory period before you're able to achieve another?
It's not very long. I've never timed it before, but it's not like a man's. It's not where it's 30, 45 minutes. It may be 5-10 minutes. But of course, that's going to vary from woman to woman, because we're all different, just like every man's refractory period is different. So we can't say that, hey, this is textbook. I mean, there are some similarities, but every individual is going to be different. But to achieve a multiple orgasm, that's continuous. It's not where there's any refractory period at all.
There is energy that's trapped in our bodies that is released when we make love. There is this belief in sacred sexuality of this Kundalini energy. It's like a coil that is at the bottom of your root chakra. And when you do your breath work and you're breathing from your root chakra, that energy travels up your body. And what we want you to concentrate on is your breathing while you're making love with one another. We talked about in the first episode looking into each other's eyes, because the eyes are the window of the soul. One of the favorite sex positions we have for that is when my wife is facing me and her legs are wrapped around me and I'm looking into her eyes, and we're able to breathe together and exchange our energy. I'm taking in her energy, she's taking in my energy. And it's not about a race. It's not about running to the end and reaching orgasm. It's about being in that space, feeling every inch of her body. I'm able to rub her back. She's rubbing my back. Her breasts against my chest. All of that is sacred sexuality, because you're exchanging energy and not just fluids. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
Energy, not just fluid. What's another way we can share each other's energy in sacred lovemaking?
Another way, well, there are people that are not able, there are women that are not able to have an orgasm. So I think through some not even through
penile penetration.
No, not through oral. So there's some that have not even experienced an orgasm, period. But I think a way that you can get closer to your husband and to is the cuddling. Because you're face to face. If you're cuddling face to face, your heartbeats are matching. Your breath is matching. You're holding one another. You're being present with one another. So we don't want to make some individuals feel like, oh, I'm deficient because I'm not able to orgasm. That is not it at all. And that's okay. There is a percentage of women that are not able to orgasm, but there are still ways to experience sacred sexuality with your partner on a different level.
You know, we touched on this on the first episode, and we talked about what makes it sacred. It's an act between two covenant partners. A covenant is an agreement that cannot be broken only by death. And that covenant that we made when we said that we would be faithful to one another, that we would love each other in sickness and in health, that's a strong covenant that cannot be easily broken. But one of the things that breaks that covenant is adultery.
Right.
And the word adulterer means to water down. And whenever it is that we allow somebody else to violate our space, we water down that union. It becomes weakened. But sacred sexuality is strong when we are faithful and when we are committed to one another. And there's so much freedom. Lord have mercy. There's so much freedom within the bounds of our bedroom, our sanctuary. We talked about this in like 2 episodes ago when we talked about forbidden fruit. That God told Adam and Eve, don't eat from that one tree.
Right.
But there's so much more to explore. All kind of fruit trees around here that we can enjoy. And I think the sacredness of sexuality is that God has given us so many things that we can enjoy from one another, but we have to take the shame out of it.
We do, and I'm giggling because you was like, it's so many trees around here. Explain, what are some other things? What are some of these other trees?
Hey everybody, it's Spencer stopping by. We got some exciting news. Eden Circle is back open. That's right. We have a Inner Circle program that helps you to take your marriage to the next level through some personalized mentorship. There's 2 things that are needed in order for your marriage to make it. You need some great coaches. Rhonda and I have been married for 30 plus years, and we want to share with you some of our experiences. And then you need a community of people who are trying to stay married. Wouldn't it be great to share ideas and to build stories together with other couples who are trying to make it? Baby, tell them the benefits of being in our circle.
Some of the benefits of being in our circle is, like Stacy said, the mentorship, the counseling. We have master classes, quarterly meetups. We have fun together. We teach different techniques because we believe in the sanctity of marriage, and we want to keep married people married.
And if you're going to be married, you might as well have fun doing it. We want to help you to show you how to have fun, how to take your lovemaking to the next level, your communication, and to help you in spots when you get stuck, to help you get out of those ruts by coaching and mentorship. So simply go to, listen, if you want to be a part of this circle, go to www.theedencircle.com and register today. We want you in our inner circle. So the other trees for me is there's oral sex. There's so many more positions besides missionary.
Absolutely.
There's more rooms in your house than the bedroom. You got a whole forest, right? There's the garage, there's the laundry room, there's the living room, there's the family room if the kids are at school.
Right.
Or you don't have any kids in the house. And I think we just have to get back to a place where we recognize the sacredness of what God intended. In Proverbs chapter 5, he says, why spill your seed out in the streets with a stranger? Enjoy your wife's breast. Enjoy the wife of your youth. And the more we make love, the more we want to make love.
Right.
But the less we make love, the less likely we're going to bond. There is a spiritual bonding process that takes place. That's why the Bible says, and Adam knew Eve. The word know is an intimate process that happens as a result of making love. There is an exchange of energy, an exchange of personality. We literally can finish each other's sentences because we make love on the regular. And you can make love no matter how old you get. Some sacred sex practitioners say that you should make love until the day you die. My hope is that we old people still talking about, come here, baby.
Now we're not gonna be talking about come here, baby.
Come and get me.
Get in here.
But sacred sexuality, I think for Christians, is that we have to reclaim our sexuality back from the world. The world has made it something perverted, and I think we listen through the miseducation of a repressed sexuality that's been passed down through Western theology. But all throughout Scripture, Old and New, there is this sexual thread that God has from the Song of Solomon to 1 Corinthians. God wants us to not deny one another. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. Wives, love your husband. And do not deny each other from sexual gratification. It's a sin not to have sex. I just said something. It's a sin for married couples not to please one another. And pleasure is a byproduct of sacred sexuality. When we're talking, when we're cuddling, when we're risking vulnerability, the byproduct of that is you get what you want, I get what I want, and we arrive there together.
Right.
How many of y'all are in a marriage where you can ask for what you want? How important is it, sweetheart, for a woman to be able to ask for the pleasure she wants from her husband?
It's important because we as women, one, we need to feel heard. We need to feel seen. We need to feel safe. And so when those things take place, it becomes easier for us to open up sexually to give our husbands what they need.
Has it ever been hard for you to open up and say what you wanted?
Probably early on in our marriage because I did not have the tools.
What tools?
The tools of communication. I did not know myself what I needed. So once I knew myself what I needed, what I desired, where my pleasure was, owning my yes and my no, then I was able to communicate to you effectively what my needs are.
And how did you discover that as a woman? What you really wanted in the bedroom?
One is through our exploration, through reading, through our training. It's just opened up a whole different world for me. And so through that, we've been able to make love on a whole other level and be able to teach that to other couples.
Mm-hmm. We talked about some of the spiritual practices for sacred sexuality, breath work.
Right.
Again, breathing deeply helps you to regulate your parasympathetic nervous system. If you're stressed, chances are you're not breathing deeply. It's shallow breathing. And that prevents you from experiencing all the pleasure that's available through sacred sexuality. But when you breathe deeply, it activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which lets you say, I'm safe, I'm okay, I'm open for pleasure. Nobody's thinking about sex when you're running from a lion, right? Because your adrenaline's pumping, you're thinking about getting away.
Right.
Same thing when you're stressed out. But when you relax, you're more apt to be open to pleasure. About that checklist we talked about earlier, right? So what are some things husbands can do to help women get into a headspace where they're ready for some sacred sex?
I know we've talked about this before, but really knowing what your wife's love language is. And every wife's love language changes. So making sure that you're constantly checking in, the pillow talk, helping clear some things off of her to-do list so that she's not having that mental list in her head like, oh, I hope he hurry up and finish because I need to put these dishes in the dishwasher, or I need to iron clothes for the next day, or whatever the list may consist of. But being able to openly communicate with your husband helps a whole great deal.
You know, I was thinking about, what was flashing through my mind just now is in Spike Lee's movie Do the Right Thing, there's a scene where he's with his baby's mother.
Oh, with ice.
It's on a hot, steaming, record-breaking heat wave in New York City, and Mookie goes up to see I forgot her name.
Charlene?
No, she got the real thick Spanish accent, but nevertheless, he's got her fully undressed. She's laying on top of the covers. He's got a bowl of ice cubes, and he takes them and he starts. He said, "Thank God for the ear. Thank God for the neck. Thank God for the shoulder. Thank God for the left breast. Thank God for the right breast. Thank God for the nipple. Thank God for the stomach." And he goes all the way down. You see this ice and this water dripping off of her body. And I think what we need to take the time with is to explore each other's body, to appreciate every curve, every angle. There's more to life than the three mountains.
And even in that, using that scene, there was no lovemaking that took place.
Right, he just used the ice cube.
He just used the ice. He cooled her down because it was hot, and he went back to work. So that was something that was intimate between them because he got some pleasure and she got some pleasure.
There are three mountains in sacred sexuality that you want to explore. Three mountains. One is the breast or the nipples.
Okay.
And I want to caution men on this. You cannot rush to the mountain without going to the valley first. A lot of times we see those breasts and we're like, "Boom!" We want to go straight for the nipple, and then the woman's like, "Hold up, I'm not warmed up." Now, there are some women who are okay with you just going straight there, but most women, especially as they get older, need you to warm up. And my wife is always like, "I got all of this before you run to this." But at the peak of their pleasure, a woman's nipple is a point of energy. The tongue is also a point of energy. When we kiss, see, a lot of times,
I'll tell him about 6 seconds.
yeah, a lot of times we're just kissing, babe, and it's that, love you, girl, have a great day, see you later. But how long should a passionate kiss last?
6 seconds.
6 seconds.
That's not long at all.
It's not long at all. Want to see? That's a peck. There ain't no 6 seconds. But the tongue, the nipples, and then also the genitalia. So for men, it's the penis. For women, it's the vagina or the clitoris. There are so many nerve endings in a woman's clitoris that I think they're double what's in the head of the penis. And so a lot of her pleasure comes from massaging, playing, kissing the clitoris. Because as you said, there's a small percentage of women that can reach climax through vaginal penetration. And they need stimulation on the clitoris. So the three mountains are what? The tongue, the nipples, and the genitalia.
And a way to remember that is you always start north before you go south.
All right now.
And go further north. Let's start in the head. Let's have some communication. Let's get on the same wavelength, and then let's move on down. Then also you mentioned about the clitoris. The only function of the clitoris is for pleasure.
Wow.
It has no other function but for pleasure.
Wow. Wow. And it gets ignored.
It does, poor little thing.
But it's not a little thing.
No, it's not.
Actually, it's almost the size of a wishbone, right? And that clitoris, it goes up under the hood, goes down into the major labia, and even behind it, the G spot. So all of those are connected, and you need to explore all of the lips, all of the hood, not just the opening. You got to explore the whole body. And as we said before, the mind is the biggest sex organ, and that's why we should love each other with all our heart,
all our mind,
with all our mind, with all our body, and with all our soul, because this is sacred sex.
Yes.
Did I run out of time?
Yes, you did.
Oh, man. That got so good. We were just talking and talking. But y'all, what we want to talk about tonight, and I hope you heard us, is that sexuality is not just about physical. It's about the spiritual. We want you to love each other with all your heart, mind, and body and soul. We want you to experience multi-orgasms, not just through penetration, but breathing together, cuddling each other, talking. Sometimes some of the best sex we've had our clothes on. Driving on a long drive, going to Nashville in the car, and then talking about what she desires and what I want. And it's been some pleasant conversation. I'm like, girl, I didn't know that was in you. And I got excited, felt like I need to take the next exit. But but all of those are examples of sacred sexuality. What would you say to the women before we leave tonight? And I'm gonna say something to the men.
Ladies, I would say to you, just be open to your husband. Make sure that you are hearing him completely, and giving him a break. Sometimes their intentions may be well, but we could also help them with their intentions. Tell them what you desire. Tell them what you like. Just don't hint around it. They cannot read our minds. Our mind is not a teleprompter, so we have to make sure that we guide our husbands in the direction that we want them to go in, and everybody's going to be the happier for it.
And I would say to you men, adore your wife's body. I mean, every contour. Act like you're on a geographical journey and you want to explore every inch of her body. And when you start, as my wife said, going from north to south, kiss her on her forehead, her eyelids, her nose, her lips, nibble on her earlobe, kiss her on her neck, kiss her deeply in the mouth, taste the nectar of your wife's mouth and her lips, and then go down to her breasts and kiss around. Take your time as you navigate towards the south, and you kiss her stomach, her navel, and let your hands touch give all kind of sensations on her body. And when you get to her vagina, explore all the outer lips, the inner lips, raise the hood of the clitoris gently. Love on it, give it attention, rub her thighs, the back of her knees, her ankles, her feet. When she wants to roll over and massage her buttocks using this cupping motion. I'm telling you, sex is something that needs to not be rushed. Take your time, explore, love each other, because God meant for y'all to experience sacred sexuality. The divine in you should see the divine in them. God created y'all to enjoy one another, to love each other. So explore all of what God has for you. Listen, we appreciate y'all stopping in tonight for part 2 of Sacred Sexuality. But listen, we want to remind you, we got about 7 beds left. We got 7, what beds? We got 7 beds left where?
At the hotel for Love in the Bluff. June the 7th through the 9th is our marriage retreat that's happening here in the city. So if you have not secured your space, we advise you to do it today.
Right now. Where do they do it? Where do they do it at?
You need to go to drstacylspencer.com, click on the Love in the Bluff link, and register today.
Why? Because we're going to teach you how to build intimacy, how to get intimacy. We're going to teach you how to take your love making to the next level, to go deeper and deeper, help your weak stuff. And then we're going to teach you how
To liberate
fantasies. What do you really want? Now, for real, tell me. I'm listening. What do you really want your wife to do to you? Women, what do you really want your husband to do without him thinking you nasty? We want to help you liberate those fantasies. And then your favorite thing,
unveiling communication. We want to be able to talk to one another so that we can get what we need out of each other and take the guesswork out of it.
fueling the fire of desire. We want to show you how to put some heat back in that relationship, how to make it hot like fire. You know, come out with some lingerie. Don't let Victoria's be a secret. Show you some toys you can use, like some cock rings and vibrators and sex toys, and all of that stuff. And then fun.
Phyllis, we're going to facilitate fun. So we're going to help you guys find new ways of having fun together, because what you did to get together, we might have to tweak to stay together.
Yeah, what got you here ain't going to take you there.
Right.
It's time to take it to another level. So go to drstacyelspencer.com. And lastly, for those of you who need some mentoring and some coaching in your relationship, we got you. We got theedencircle.com. You need coaches and you need community. We got about 17 couples in our circle right now. We got room for about 5 more. And if you want to come be a part of this intimate inner circle, to get quarterly retreats, to get meetups and webinars, we got you. And if you need a counseling session, you get stuck, you can come to our home and visit with us in our home. And we're even getting ready to open it up to where you can come and stay a weekend with us to get an intensive on helping you to get back on the right track. But that's only available through theedencircle.com. Did you have fun tonight?
I did. What about you?
I did. I want to go practice that 6-second kiss that you didn't give me on screen a while ago.
You get kisses all the time.
I sure do. They good too. All right. We love you guys. Please go subscribe to Naked and Unashamed SLS. And share this with your couple friends. Why you being greedy? Share this with your couple friends and y'all have conversations. And don't be afraid to leave comments. We want to scratch you where you're itching. So if you have a question, something we didn't answer, something you want us to talk about that we have not talked about, simply email us at drstacyelspencer@gmail.com. And I promise you, Rhonda and I will respond. We don't act funny like that. We love y'all. We will respond, but you got to say something. We can't do nothing if you don't say anything. All right, we love you guys. Thank y'all for being on. And until next time, make sure you get back to being naked and unashamed. See you soon.